Do you ever find yourself in a situation where whenever you turn on the camera, you freeze up, you start stumbling on your sentences, you begin to lose your thought, and you don't feel confident on camera, but then you watch other people create video content so effortlessly, and you're asking yourself, how do they do that? Well, talking on camera is not natural. It's not a natural thing to do. So do not feel bad about that. But today we're going to change that. I am going to give you the tools and tips to help you elevate your camera game, gain confidence, and be able to create the kind of content that resonates with your audience. So I have my notes here to make sure that I don't miss anything that I prepared to share with you. So the agenda, I'm going to talk about why video is important and why it relates to personal branding. I am going to talk about why video content is the future of personal branding and walk through the reasons why people do not have camera confidence, the obstacles that hold people back from creating video content. And then I'm going to share with you 7 tips that's going to help you elevate your video game. And finally, if we have time, I want to keep this to about 20 to 25 minutes. If we have time, I'm going to give you 5 strategies that is going to help you crush your next video content. So let's jump right to it. So the first thing I want to talk about is this all relates to personal branding. So, what is personal branding? Well, it is what people think about when your name comes up. So, when you're thinking about your own brand, we all have a personal brand out there. The question is, are you being deliberate in nurturing that personal brand? And today, video content is the best way to build your personal brand for a whole host of reasons. But you have to think of personal brand as a triangle. And at the top of that triangle is the influence authority that you build. And that takes time. And you do that by creating valuable content that resonates with your audience. So, video content is the future of that strategy because it connects you with people more easily. There's more places that you can post video content. We have, Instagram, we have TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. And video makes you more relatable. People want connection with the people behind the brand that they work with. They don't want to be looking at a faceless brand online. And our own behavior on social media shows that we follow more people than we do with brands. And the content that we're excited about, the content that we connect about, are those that are ones that are put out by brands and not by put out by individuals, sorry, and not by brands. So the point is that video is the future of personal branding. And at the top of that pyramid or at the top of that triangle is your authority, influence, and the credibility that you build by creating video content that resonates with your audience. And then you leverage that authority to be able to then build your business at the bottom of the triangle or build a legacy. So if you have future plans to write a book, if you have plans to be a speaker, to be a consultant, to even build a passion project, that credibility and authority is going to be portable and it's going to be something that you're going to be able to take with you into the future. So that is the power of building your personal brand with video. So if this resonates with you, I want you to type into the chat yes. And I have a special gift that I am going to be announcing soon. And it's something that relates to how you can build personal brand and be able to elevate your influence and authority. So I'm going to share how you can access that special gift. But let's dive into the importance of being on video and being confident on video. So if you think about it this way, if you see somebody on video and they are not confident, let's say that the person that is presenting whatever they're presenting on video to you, you will rate them as a 4. But then their knowledge of the content is a 10. Well, unfortunately, we don't get to see that knowledge because all we're focused on is how bad the person is on camera. And so people tend to rate you based on how well you communicate. So, how well you present on video is going to closely tied to how people rate your competence, your expertise, and your authority. So if you are trying to build a following, if you are trying to elevate your influence, getting comfortable on camera and being able to create content that resonates with your audience is going to be critical in transferring that authority to people, because you are as good as how you communicate. But the main reason behind our fear is that with video, we feel like we're going to put out something that is permanent. The biggest reason that people freeze up when the camera turns on is because we feel like we're going to put out something permanent online, and we feel awkward, we feel uncomfortable, and people are going to be able to watch it over and over it again. And that thought alone freezes a lot of people up and discourages us from creating video content and missing out on the opportunity to be able to build a real connection with your audience and build content that turns them into leads and leads into clients. So today, my goal is to fix that, to give you tools and tips to help you become camera confident and be able to create the content that resonates with your audience. But here's the thing, I can relate to that fear because I have been there. You know, years ago, I've been creating video content for a very long time. But my journey with video starts with, my first, I started creating content on 2015. If you go on YouTube, you see a lot of videos that I've created. And I've been on and off because of the reasons that I have shared. Sometimes I don't like my voice. I don't like how I sound. I don't like how I said something in the video. And I don't stick with it long enough. And sometimes I watch the video back and it will be so cringe-worthy that I would not go back and even want to deal with it. So I will stop recording, and then a few years will go by. I'll come back to it, and then it'll be the same story and over again. Even my Shark Tank video, I haven't watched the entire video because I don't really like to hear my voice, at least my voice then. So, what changed? Well, recently, as I've started rebuilding a new business, I started to realize that there are people out there that are creating video effortlessly. And three people come to mind, Ali Abdal, Cody Sanchez, Alex Hermosi. And those three entrepreneurs have leveraged video content to build powerful personal brands. And what really connected with me was Ali Abdal, because I feel like our personality is the same. I am an introvert first. And so putting myself out there takes effort. But I watch him as an introvert being able to build an empire on video. And I realized that it all comes down to knowing how to create video content that connects, knowing that having the right tools and tips to be able to create content. And over time, if you stick with it, you can also become a pro at creating content that connects with your audience. So that is my intention today, is to give you those tools and help you, because I went on that journey. The last few years, I went on that journey of learning how can I be confident? How can I create content where if I turn on the camera, I will be authentic, I'll be myself, I will show my personality and be able to put my message across in a way that people feel connected to. And it took a lot of work, it took a lot of practice, but now that work is what you see, and I want to teach you what I learned through that process so that you can also be camera confident and gain the authority that you need in your space to be able to be the go-to expert that people look up to and come to you for whatever you're selling, whether it's a good or service. You want to be the first that they come to when they think about your space. So let's jump right into it. So I'm going to give you 7 tips. So tip number 1 is a mental shift. The biggest thing that you have to realize about video content is that all the insecurities that we have about creating video content focuses on us. We're thinking, I am not good enough. I feel like people are going to judge me. People, my what are my friends and family going to say when they see the content that I put out? I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. All that is me, 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 me. But when you flip that and you look at video content and you focus in on the impact that you're going to make, the people's whose lives you're going to touch, there is somebody else out there right now that you can change with your story, with your expertise, with your knowledge, with your experience. And they're out there waiting for you. There's a tribe out there waiting for you. because you are different, you are unique, and how you say things, your perspective on the topic. Yes, somebody may have said it before, somebody may be in your space, but nobody is going to say it like you do. Nobody is going to come at it from your background, your experience, your expertise, and your life story. And so there are people out there who will connect with your message because you are delivering it with your perspective from your own perspective. So that mindset shift of taking it from you, making it about you, and focusing on the person whose life you're about to change, the person who is out there waiting for a voice like yours, it makes you then, it gives you a new confidence to be able to go out there and create the content that resonates with people. So if this resonates with you, I want you to type yes in the comments. And let's talk about the special gift that I have. So basically, I have created a guide to personal branding that I think would help you if you are new to personal branding, or if you started creating your personal branding and you're stumbling along. This guide is A to Z on how you can elevate your influence and build a following. So if this is something that you want, if that's something you're interested in, type in influence in the comment and I'll reach out to you and send you the link on how to download it. So let's get to tip number 2: practice. Now, this may sound cliche, but let me give you a reason why practicing video content is so important. Oftentimes, when we start, with something that is unfamiliar, especially talking on camera, there's so many things you have to get used to. Like me right now, sitting in a room by myself, looking at a screen and talking to you as if you are right in front of me. Well, that takes practice because you have to learn your own comfort with the camera. You have to learn how to listen to your own voice after you've recorded and get used to getting past the voice and focusing on the message that you're trying to deliver. All that comes with practice. So here's my challenge to you. Over the next 30 days, I want you to record a 1 to 3 minute video every day. You don't have to post it, but you have to create the video with this thought in mind. Think about it as a video that you are going to send to your friend when you're done recording. And when you're each time you're about to record your best friend, this is a video you're going to send to your best friend. Each time you're recording, think about that, because I want you to show up as your authentic self. And people can see the goal of this exercise is the next 30 days, record a 1 to 3 minute video. You don't have to post it, but you have to record it with that mindset that what if you had to send this to your best friend? Would they think that is a real you? Would they think that that is the authentic you? And create those videos. And here's what will happen. After about day 15, you are going to realize that some of those videos are not that bad and that you will be willing to actually post them, because after 15 days, you probably have gotten more comfortable with yourself on camera and you can really articulate yourself well. And you actually have a few things that you like. So, what should you talk about? Well, answer questions that people ask you in your industry. And if you don't know how to do that, go to Google, type in keywords about your industry, and then look at the section of Google search where it says other people also ask, or these are some of the other things that people ask. Take those questions and answer them. 1 to 3 minutes every day for 30 days. And I guarantee you, by the end of the 30th day, you will feel very confident in being able to get in front of camera and create content that connects with your audience. So if this resonates with you, I want you to hit yes in the comments below. So the next thing is looking at the lens. This is a big and uncomfortable thing, but when you're creating video, you have to look straight at the lens. And when some people, for instance, right now I am on a webinar platform, so I can see myself, but I'm looking straight at the camera on my laptop. Because if I look at myself, this is what I look like. You can see the difference. Now I'm looking at myself versus I'm looking at the camera. The camera shows that I'm looking at you and talking specifically to you. When I'm looking at myself, I'm talking to myself and looking down, and that creates a different dynamic. But when you're looking directly at the lens, it creates that connection. It builds that connection with your audience and makes them feel that they are right there with you. So when you're recording video, it is important that you're looking directly at the camera, at the lens. It may feel unnatural, and sometimes if you feel like awkward doing it, put a picture of your best friend behind the camera, so that you'll be looking at them, but you're looking at the lens. It's really, really important because if you can master looking at the lens, if you can master looking at the camera, you are going to build that connection. People are going to watch your videos and feel like you're right there with them. And think about your favorite creators. They do that very well. You'll be watching a YouTube video and you feel like the person is talking right to you. Well, they're looking directly at the lens, they're looking directly at the camera and not looking at themselves like I'm doing right now. And especially if you're recording in selfie mode, it's very easy to look at yourself when you turn it on and begin to critique how you look and all that and forget that you're supposed to be looking at the camera, you're supposed to be looking at the lens. So that is a very big tip that you should practice in your 30 days of recording videos. Number 4, prepare. This is probably the biggest way to deal with anxiety when you are recording videos, is to prepare. Now, there are 2 ways to prepare. There are groups of people who like to script the entire video before they record. And the upside of that is that you know exactly what you want to say. The downside is that if you forget something or you trip over a word, it can throw you off because you've not practiced what you're going to replace that word with. And it makes you look more unnatural. And sometimes reading a script, if you haven't really mastered it, can look very robotic. So I prefer to just do a rough outline, have like a roadmap of what I want to talk about, and it gives me the freedom and flexibility to show my personality and be able to go with the flow of how I feel and what I want to say versus being tied down to a particular script. And the thing about sketching and providing a roadmap is that you're not going to make a mistake because once you know, and it's okay. Here's the thing. I have notes here and I'm glancing at my notes, but I have already sketched everything out. So when I look at the notes, I don't have to look very long because I know what I wrote and I have highlights of what I want to say. And if something is not really clear to me, I can just go out there and just look at it and then come back right back. But the focus is that you don't want to lose your audience by reading your material. You want to glance at it and then come back to your lens. So I prefer to sketch things out and then be able to then walk through that because the sketch is just the main points I want to hit in my video. So it doesn't tie me down to a particular format, but it gives me a roadmap on what I want to say. So make sure that you prepare because that is going to help you take away the anxiety that you feel and is going to help you stay confident in your video. If this resonates with you, I want you to hit yes in the comment. And then number 5 is talk about things you know. If you're starting out with video, you build confidence by talking about things you have expertise, experience, authority, and knowledge in. So, the shortest way to lose your thought or to lose credibility in front of your audience, especially when you're starting with video content, is to be talking about things you don't know because first, you're uncomfortable talking about it, you don't look confident, and then you look awkward in video. You want to eliminate those barriers by going and talking about something that you can talk about in your sleep. So it's important to talk about stuff you know because you will come across as confident, you will come across as knowledgeable, and even if there are little quirks here and there or awkwardness, because you have authority, people are probably likely to give you the benefit of the doubt than to look at your video and feel that you don't know what you're talking about, tune you out, and then you've lost all credibility. I would rather be talking about something that I'm very knowledgeable in and I am still trying to master the format than go and talk about something I don't know and I am also not comfortable and then people write me off completely. People are more likely to catch you some slack if you're knowledgeable about what you're talking about. And then number 6, own how you feel. So one of the things about video that people really don't realize is that the more you can show yourself, the more vulnerable you are, the more people connect with you. And here's why. For instance, if you go on LinkedIn, there are about almost 1 billion people on LinkedIn that use the platform. Only about maybe 1 to 3% are producing content on a regular basis. And between that 1 and 3%, only a very tiny fraction produce video content. Why? Because video is hard. It's unnatural. A lot of people have anxiety doing it. It's not something people feel comfortable out of the gate doing. So if you're out there creating video content, people will pay attention, and it's the fastest way to build an audience. But here's the thing: if you're on video and you're nervous, tell your audience you're nervous. If you're feeling, if you're anxious, tell them you're anxious, because it breaks that barrier with your audience and makes them feel connected to you, because they probably feel the same way, because they know how hard it is to turn on the camera and create content. So if you can share with them how you feel, it breaks that barrier, makes them connected to you, and allows you to also feel comfortable because you've owned up to how you're feeling. And then if you make a mistake, sometimes we beat ourselves up when we make a mistake on video and like, oh my God, they're going to judge me. No, they're not. Just own up to it. So if you missed a word, you can just say, well, that's not what I meant to say. Oh, that didn't come out right. Just go with the flow. Do not get so caught up in your mistakes that you lose your train of thought, and then now basically throw your whole presentation, out of the window because of that one mistake. Just own up to it and tell them, hey, that's not what I meant to say. This is what I meant to say. Or that didn't come out right. Well, this is what I meant to talk about. And that helps in easing that anxiety that you feel, creating video. And then number 7, warm up. So for me, the biggest thing that I know about video is that the beginning is everything. So how you start your video content is going to set the tone of how your content is going to go. So I usually try to warm up my hook. What I'm going to say first, I am going to practice it to make sure that I get that right, because you have only 5 seconds and then you lose people. So make sure that your hook is practiced, and then how you're going to end your video. Sometimes your video may be long and you are ready to be done. It's important to remember what you were trying to say, because your call to action at the end is what is going to tell your audience what to do next. So when you practice your hook, the beginning, and you practice the end, the call to action, it then gives you the confidence to know that, one, you started well, and then you're ending on a good note because you are giving them the specific instructions on what you want them to do. So in this video, I have practiced my call to action because I'm going to give you tips on how to work with me if you want to do that. And as you can see, during the video, I'm also telling you about this special gift. So I have an ebook about personal branding, and it's going to teach you how to build personal brand from A to Z and elevate your influence. If you're interested in getting that, type influence in the comments, and I will reach out and send you the link on how to get access to it. So the next part of this presentation was to give you 5 ways to crash your video content. But because we are about 23 minutes in, what I'm going to do is I have 2 things I call them a bonus on this presentation that I want to share with you. And then I'm going to give you 3 tips, and then I'm going to wrap up. So the first bonus is be you. When you're creating video content, just be you. There's nobody out there that has your experience, your knowledge, your background, your upbringing than you. And nobody can come at that topic or that particular subject like you would. So trust that you being authentic is your superpower. If you're trying to be somebody else, people can see through that. And it's not going to last because you're always trying to be second best to that person. If you go out there as your authentic self and you present things based on your own experiences, your own knowledge, your own perspective, your tribe will find you. Not everybody will like you, and that's okay, because that's how it is. Not everybody will find you as, or vibe with you. But there is a big, large audience out there that is looking for the message that you are going to share, because they like how you share it from your own perspective. So go out there and be you. And then the second one is about judgment. One of the biggest things that holds people back from creating video content is that they're afraid of being judged by their family, by their friends, by their coworkers. And sometimes you're on a platform that you think your friends are already on. Maybe, you're an entrepreneur and you started in corporate America. So you have all your corporate America friends, and or your family is following you on Instagram or LinkedIn. And so you are immediately thinking about what they are going to think when you put that content out there. Well, I'll give you a few tips. Number one, nobody cares so much about you like you think they do. And everybody's busy with their own lives. And when you put out something, you think everybody's going to see it. Very rarely does your entire audience see your content, especially your friends and family. People are busy with their lives. They are not there thinking about you 24/7. So go out there and put out the content. Number two, the people that are mean to you online are people that are hurting themselves, because hurt people hurt people. So when you put something out and somebody provides you constructive feedback, take it. But if somebody's mean, ignore it. And I know that is very easy to say, but hard to do. It is true, because we're all human. We care about what people say and we get impacted by it. But I want to give you a frame of mind that you can stay in, so that when you experience that negativity online, and it's going to come, I mean, it's there, because people can hide behind anonymity, behind the computer, and say mean things. Know that hurt people. Because here's the big deal: nobody out there that is doing better than you or doing what you are doing is going to be mean online, because they know what it takes, the confidence, the courage that it takes to show up online and present yourself and be public. So people who have done it, been there, done that, people who are doing better than you, they're not gonna come and be mean to you online. It's the people who actually are looking at you and beating on themselves that they are not taking the risk, or they are not bold enough to take the risk that you are taking. So their only way of making themselves feel better is to pull you down, so that they'll feel better about themselves. So stay in that frame of mind, because that is important when you're creating video content, because people are going to be there out there and they're going to say things you're not going to like. But just move on. If it's constructive, take it. If it's not, move on. So if this is connecting with you, you can put yes in the comments. And if you would like the special gift, I want you to type influence in the comments, and I'll reach out to you and give you that gift. So I'm going to end with 3 tips on how you can crash your next video, because I'm hoping that as soon as we're done, you all be planning on how you can, if you haven't started already, how you can begin creating video content now. So I'll give you 3 tips, and then we'll wrap up. The first one is start where you are. Start with what you have. You don't need any fancy equipment. You don't need a camera. You don't have to go buy a brand new camera. Your phone is good enough. Smartphones today have good audio, good video. So you have everything in your phone to create amazing video content. 80% of the videos that I put out have all been recorded on my phone. And I have what they would call an old phone, because I have a Pixel 6, Pixel 6 Pro. And Pixel phones are now on 8. They're about to release 9, and my 6 is good enough. So your phone, the phone you have right now, is good enough to create amazing video content with good audio. You're good to go. And then the other 20% of videos that I create are like from clips from something like this, where I record a live video and then I use AI to chop it up. And this is being recorded on my laptop. So you have everything you need to create video. So don't go buy any fancy equipment. You're ready to go. Tip number 2: when you're creating video content, use your hands. And one of the things that we struggle with is that we get very robotic when the camera turns on. And it's very helpful to actually use your hands, because one, it makes you look authoritative, it makes you look more natural, and it allows you to get out of that stiffness jail that we put ourselves in when we start recording video content. And if you're thinking about what to do with your hands, well, anything from the bottom of your chin to your belly button, if you're standing, that is your range. So as you can see, this is my sphere of hand movement, and use that. And the tip about using your hand is that it should follow your voice. So you can see what I'm doing right now is like, if I'm expressing myself, I'm saying, tomorrow I am going to go to the mall. So your hands should not move faster than your voice, because then people are going to be confused. You want to make sure that your hands are flowing as your voice is flowing, so that they are in sync together. So that's tip number 2. And then tip number 3: do not wait. Do not wait. The world needs your voice. You have something to say, you have an impact you can make. And if you wait longer, you are not going to gain the confidence, because confidence doesn't come from waiting. Confidence comes from practicing and putting yourself out there. Your first 20 to 50 videos are going to be terrible. You just have to go in knowing that. But it's okay, put it out there, because if you look back and you're not embarrassed by your first few videos, you waited too long. It's meant to be that way. You're supposed to look back and be embarrassed by it, because a year from now, you'll be so proficient and you'll be so confident on camera that you look back and you'll be glad you started and didn't wait any longer. So confidence starts from practice and not from waiting. So I hope you do. So how can you go to the next step? If you really, really want to take your video content to the next step, if you really want to gain confidence on camera, if you want to be able to create content that connects with your audience and do it in a shorter period of time, like 1 hour a week of creating content, and also be able to gain the tools and resources to do it more efficiently. There's so many AI tools now that will help you shorten your learning curve and shorten the production time of creating, from going from video recording to posting the video. And you want content. Sometimes we run out of ideas. How can you create a system where you can get endless amounts of content and not run out of ideas to be able to talk about? If that is something that's of interest to you, I can help you. You can work with me one on one. So if you want and are interested in that, type video in the comments. I will reach out to you after this presentation and give you details on how we can work together. So, what would you gain by working with me? Well, you are going to be seen, you're going to be visible, you are going to be known, because you're going to build authority, and then you're going to be the preferred option. Because if you build authority and people trust, like, and connect with you, then when it's time for them to buy, you'll be the first or only option they're going to think about. So my goal is to get you seen, known, and be the preferred option. So if that sounds like a good idea, type video in the comment section below and I'll reach out to you. And if this resonated with you, I want you to type yes in the comment section. And I do these video lives regularly, so be on the lookout for the next one. Thank you for watching.